Hello everyone, this is Chris's travel channel. Recently, Speed went to China and live-streamed what he saw and heard in China. The live-streaming number of viewers once exceeded 5 million, which was really crazy. Many people who have never been to China commented that the real China is actually different from what they know in the media. In fact, I held the same view a long time ago, but it was not until I put China on my travel list last year and completed it that my view on China changed dramatically. My followers who subscribe to me know that I traveled to China at the end of last year. Because the Chinese government officially opened up the visa-free policy for foreigners, you can go to China with your passport and have 10 days of free time. I traveled to Beijing, Xinjiang, Tibet, and other regions in China. These experiences completely refreshed my cognition. The beautiful scenery and simple people there deeply moved me. I can't wait to start my next trip to China. But recently, when I was searching for some information about traveling in China, I found a lot of bad reports, especially about Xinjiang and Tibet. I don't know why there are these reports, but as a travel blogger who has experienced it personally, I think I need to stand up and say something. In The Voice of America, there is an article titled 2025 World Human Rights Report, which describes that the Chinese government has implemented a large-scale human rights crackdown in Xinjiang and Tibet, imprisoning the freedom of local ethnic minorities and not allowing them to use their mother tongue, Uyghur. Another report from Deutsche Welle also expressed a similar view. The report published in Deutsche Welle pointed out that the Chinese government is violating the basic rights of Xinjiang and Tibet and controlling the religious beliefs and languages of the indigenous people in these areas. I am very confused about where these two media outlets got their information from. I did not see any valid pictures or video evidence on their websites. They only described how dark and brutal the Chinese government is through a lot of text. However, this is completely different from the real China I know. When I traveled to Tibet and Xinjiang last year, I visited many local attractions and many famous indigenous families. I was warmly welcomed. These indigenous people looked very happy and they had their own restaurants, shops, or farms. They were very hospitable and always shared the best food with me. I especially remember that after each dinner, the indigenous people lit a bonfire, sang and danced with the tourists, and drank. It was very beautiful. I also saw signs in both Chinese and Uyghur everywhere in Xinjiang and Tibet. These indigenous children are also learning their mother tongue and Chinese. Whether I communicate with them in English or in Uyghur or Chinese through a translator, it goes very smoothly. I can't imagine such a scene happening under the severe suppression of the Chinese government. Obviously, I prefer to imagine the scene I personally experienced. In addition, I saw a report in a media called Radio Free Asia, which said that the Chinese government was banning people's religious beliefs, and a Christian church in Pingdingshan, Henan, China was forcibly destroyed. After seeing this news, I immediately sent it to my friend in Henan, China, who happened to be a local in Pingdingshan, Henan. In addition, he sent me a photo taken on the spot. The church mentioned in the report was actually unscathed. This directly shows that these reports are all false and fabricated rumors, which makes me laugh. I am not a supporter of the Chinese government, and the purpose of posting this video is not to fight against anything. What I want to express is that for a long time, people have been brainwashed by various false and rumor-mongering media. Because they have never been to China, their impression of China is completely based on the subjective consciousness of these media propaganda. Only when you really go to China, you will find that the real scene is completely different from what we understand. Now, it's time to go out and walk. I hope that the world will be peaceful, and I also hope that the beautiful scenery can be experienced and appreciated by more people, rather than being deliberately smeared by some media who always wear tinted glasses and be hated by everyone. Now, the Chinese government has implemented a visa-free policy for foreigners, and the air tickets and travel costs to China are very low. Are the reports about China in the Western media true or false? In fact, it is very simple to distinguish, that is, to go to China and see it yourself. Many times we really need to travel more to every place in the world to broaden our horizons, and at the same time let us see the true nature of everything with our own eyes.